Yes, you lovely lot. I thought I'd pop on and just talk all things business. As you can see by the title, I don't actually know exactly what I've titled it, but it's something to do with how my business is going, how we're growing, and I'm going to talk about it today and talk about what's worked for me. Because the reason being, I've now been in business, self-employed for over 2 years. So we opened our first original shop October 15th, 2 years ago. And it's now obviously October 31st, Halloween, for when I'm recording this. So yeah, over 2 years we've been going, which is awesome. It's been ups and downs, it's been chaos to be honest. But yeah, I thought I'd come on, share a bit of wisdom. I'm no means an expert or a guru or any of those things, but I thought it'd be cool just to come on and share my journey, share my sort of thoughts and what's went well for me and where I've gone wrong. So if you are new, I do reselling. I'm mainly in clothing, as you can see behind me, and some shoes as well. I used to be an everything seller on eBay, which is a nightmare, and I've moved away from. Now I do, clothing and shoes. That's basically the only things I operate in, and it's going great. We've also got a brick and mortar store, high street store that's next door. Maybe I'll pop up some B-roll of what that looks like as well, of vintage clothing and secondhand clothing. Which is where we operate. I'm not an expert in any of these fields. I'm not an expert in business. I am just me in this business. I don't have any employees. It just pays me and it keeps the lights on. You know what I mean? I'm doing all right. So look, when I started, I was a everything seller around the car boot sales, picking up what I could, making £3, £4, £5, £6 when I could. I didn't understand what I was doing. That's where I was going wrong. If you're just starting out, it's very tricky to know what to sell on eBay because you can sell anything. So it's hard to know, like, should I be picking up everything, which is a good place to start, but it's not a good place to grow. So to start, yes, pick up everything, but eventually you're going to want to learn the game. You want to learn what game you actually want to play, what niche you want to play in. For me, that was clothing because it's so abundant and it's kind of overlooked, especially at the car boot sales. You can do really well. People don't care for the clothing, they're looking for the video games and the electronics. So clothing was my little area, my little pocket that I could operate in and do really well. So that's what I went for. Once you do this, you're going to start thinking, crap, should have I done that? Should I pick another niche? Say if you pick toys, you might think, crap, maybe you're watching this video and you're a toy seller and you're thinking, right, he does clothing, maybe I should move to clothing. No, if you're good at toys, do toys. Doesn't matter what niche, you can scale in any niche. But yeah, pick something. If you're an everything seller, don't let me sway you. All you have to do is pick something and stick to it, because what I was doing is I was going 1 week, okay, if this shift clothing, okay, this shift to shoes, okay, now this shift back to toys. And what I should have done is just picked one and stick to it, because as soon as I did that, my business started growing, because you can actually start to learn that niche and learn what sells and learn what does well, and tailor your business around that. As you can see, all of these boxes are filled with clothes. The reason I mention that is because once you do niche down, you can have a storage system that suits your needs, and it allows you to grow even quicker. It's so easy. I even get it now when it happens more now with platforms for me, because I know my clothing. I know I'm not moving away from that. I don't get swayed that way, but now what I get swayed with is I still get the shiny object syndrome, as like the new best thing syndrome, but this time it's not with the niche, it's with the platforms. So it would be, at the minute I'm an eBay seller, but sometimes I get swayed by thinking, should I move to vintage, should I move to whatnot, and all these things. And the reality is, if I stick to one of them and just train forward and just go on that one thing, it will outperform me trying to scatterbrain and try and be on 15 different platforms and Depop and Vinted and whatnot and eBay. And yeah, for just, right, eBay's my thing, I'm sticking to eBay, this go, full steam ahead, all the eggs in that basket. And what you end up doing is just becoming an eBay expert. Not that I am, but you become very good at that one thing, and that's where the money is, when you get good at that one thing. So stay away from the shiny objects. If something's working for you, don't get sidetracked. Don't let someone tell you that thing isn't good enough. Don't let someone tell you, oh, you should be doing whatnot because you can turn over the stock quicker. No, eBay is good for you. Keep it going. Keep doing eBay. Don't let people say, oh, eBay's crap now, it's all on Vinted. Yes, Vinted does very well for a lot of people, but if you're winning on eBay, stay on eBay. Keep winning. Keep doing your thing. The next thing I always used to struggle with was consistency. One day, especially on eBay, it's so important to be consistent. It's one of the main things eBay likes and rewards, is the consistency. And one day I would come into the shop and I would list 20 items, and the next day I would get in and I wouldn't be bothered, or I'd be busy doing something else, or It would be a Sunday and I wouldn't list anything, and then the next day it'd be 10 items, and then the next day it'd be 5. You got to stop doing that. You got to pick a number. You got to know how many you can source per week is how I did it. So to start with, you got to figure out physically how many can you actually source per week. How many can your business afford to source each week? Because that's another thing. There's no point saying, okay, I can source 500 items a week, but only have the money to source 100 items. Because yes, you can physically go out to the charity shops or the car boot sales and find 500 items, but you have to be able to afford that every week. Yeah, that is basically what you go off: how many you can afford and how many you can find. Especially in the UK, it is tricky to find stuff. And then go based off that. Yours might be 10 a day, yours might be 20 a day, it might be 2 a day, it might, and time as well. Obviously, how much time do you have in the day? If you're not full time, if you're working a job, you got to base it around that as well. So yeah, you might be 2 a day, you might be 5 a day, you might be 50, you might be 100 a day, who knows? But you have to stay consistent every day. And the one thing that's kept me on track with this is doing a draft bank. On the days you feel on fire, we all get them. When the days you come into work and you just feel like really motivated, you want to crush the world, you're like, let's do it, I'm on fire today, I'm list, I'm ready to go. But just do as much as you can on those days. The days you feel great, do as much as possible, stay late, just do as much as possible, and put it in your draft bank. Instead of pressing list now, just press save for later. That would put it in the draft bank, and then you can list them at any point. That works great for Sundays for me. I like to take my Sundays off, spend it with my partner, do a nice Sunday, you know. It doesn't affect my day. Then I can just, when she goes to the toilet or I go to the toilet, I'll sit there 5 minutes, list my 11 items, which is what I do, 11 a day. And she knows none of the wiser. You know, she doesn't even know I've done that work in that day, but I've done a day's work there just from listing 5 minutes when I'm hiding in the toilet, or she's gone toilet, or you know, we're waiting for our drinks or whatever we're doing, our coffee or whatever we're doing on that Sunday. You can bang it out, you get a day's work done in 5 minutes because you've done it the day before. All you need to do is release the drafts. The reason why this is so important is it keeps your traffic really consistent. So eBay will give you so many eyeballs on your items every day, giving you list that same amount every day. So if one day you list 5, you'll get X amount of eyeballs. 5 the next day, you'll get the same, you'll get the same, you'll get the same. And then if you don't list, obviously those eyeballs drop, and then it takes a little bit of time. Even if you go back to 5 the next day, those eyeballs will stay and slowly go back up, so you lose a little bit of traffic. That is not an exact science, that is just what some data has shown. I don't think they've ever confirmed that, and I don't think that it's actually exactly true, but that is what all the sort of experts and the people in the know say. You know, that is what happens. So yeah, really important. List the same every day. It doesn't matter if that's 2 a day. If that's all you can manage, that's great. You know, it's going to keep that consistent. Yeah, that's one of the main things. Consistency won't guarantee that you'll be successful, but not being consistent will guarantee you will not be successful. So yeah, consistency is key. The next one is going to be a little bit tough to the ego for myself. Take 1 step back to take 2 steps forward. So where was I? I was in March, early March of this year, and I was realizing that the business wasn't doing amazing. I didn't have the car boot sales, my knowledge wasn't there, and I was struggling to find stuff to sell. My 90-day total on eBay dropped down to 6.3 thousand, and I was struggling. You know, it was scraping by. So what I did is I went onto Indeed and I got an early morning cleaning job up the local college, earning, you know, just minimum wage, doing that between 6 o'clock in the morning to 8:30 in the morning. But yeah, it paid the shop rent. You know, I earned that £600, which is how much I get paid from there, and it paid for the shop rent, so I didn't have to worry about that anymore. And that was a release. You know, by 8:30 in the morning every day, I'd paid for the shop. And that's great, but it did take a hit to the ego. You know, you put all this pride into being self-employed and being self-sufficient, and then you have to go back to work. It's a little bit of a hit to the ego. What that allowed me to do then was all the profit I did make from eBay, it allowed me to go and buy more stock with, so I could eventually grow. Because at that same time, I dropped down to 4 a day. Back to what we said earlier with the consistency, knowing how much you can list every day. Mine was 4 a day, and now 11 a day. So I dropped down to 4, I got that cleaning job, and that cleaning job allowed me to pay the rent and then eventually invest in more stock. And I slowly grew and grew, especially when the car boots came back. That allowed me again just to get that cheaper stock in to grow that from 4 a day back to 11 a day. So yeah, sometimes you have to take a bit of a hit to the ego. Go, okay, is this really working? Do I need to get a part-time job? Does it need to be? Do I need to go and deliver pizzas 2 days a night, 2 days a week? What does that look like? Do I need to do that? Is it a cleaning job? Is it a, Deliveroo, driving taxis? Is it, working 2 days a week full time at Tesco, stacking shelves? Whatever it is, doesn't matter. All money's green, and it will help. None of this means anything unless you learn sort of the core principles of reselling, especially on eBay, is sort of the eBay titles, that how much something's going to sell for, so you can work out how much profit you're going to make and how fast something is going to sell. These are all things you need to learn to understand how good your eBay store is going to do if you buy that product and put it into your store. How quickly is that going to sell and how much are you going to make on it? I'll make a video on this at some point, but I'm not going to go through it now. And I'm sure there's loads of other videos going over it. If you just type into YouTube, what is sell-through rate on eBay and how do I learn it? And eBay title structure as well. If you type that into YouTube, I'm sure there's hundreds of videos that YouTubers have made over the years of going over that. Yeah, that's just the two things I'd recommend learning. As soon as you learn how to research and how to structure a title on eBay, you'll be winning and your items will sell so much faster. But yeah, I wouldn't go and worry about any of the other stuff until you've learned those, really, because that is such an important point, is just learning the sell-through rate and why that's important, and obviously how much your item's going to sell for and how to learn that, and the eBay title structure. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Trust the process, no matter where you are on that process. Trust it. Trust that things will get better. Trust that the work will work. And yeah, hard work pays off. I'm not that I've made it anywhere, but I've gone from a £6,000 90-day total to, I believe I'm near 14,500 now. I'll pop it up on screen where I am at the minute. But yeah, we're getting there, and that's since March. So what's that, maybe 7 months, 6-7 months, and we've managed to scale that much, so we're doing great. I'm going to keep pushing on, try and double that again in the next 6 months. Who knows where we'll be, but I'm going to keep you posted with that. Keep making these YouTube videos. If you made it this far, you're a legend. All the best for eBay. Keep killing it, and yeah, all the best. I'll see you there.